Hey, how's it going, people? Last few videos I've been a little bit grouchy, so that's usually indicative to when I'm in more physical pain. Anyway, aside from all that, I've got an unpleasant topic to talk about, and that's organ donation. The thing is, as anyone who watches my YouTube channel knows, I happen to be involuntary celibate, which means I don't get to talk to people, I don't get to have a normal social life, most certainly don't get to touch women or be with women or have them anywhere near me because I'm too handsome. Uh, uh, anyway, we're not getting into that, but the point of that is what I know of the world is what I'm told. So, I think there's something coming up where they're talking about organ donation awareness and, teaching people essentially to sign up for it because it's for the betterment of people who are in need. And there are people in need, no doubt about it, but it's a nasty system. Real fucking nasty. Okay, for starters, if you've been on the internet for years and years and years, when organ like the organs are talking or talked about in surgery, it usually starts from Asia and the forced organ harvesting and how people think it's so atrocious and things like that. And it is. I mean, disgusting, overly too rich of people who have abused their bodies their whole lives fly over there and they'll keep giving them organs until one works. And they'll pay an obscene amount of money to have this done. And the thing is, you may go, okay, well, that's over there in the third world country. This is Canada, um, Canadian values and stuff. Justin Trudeau's a sack of shit. He really, really is. I don't like calling him that. He's the prime minister, and I would have, when he first got elected, I would have thought he was, genuine and very keen and all that sort of stuff. And to some people he is, but to most people he's not. To most people he's a piece of trash. Um, the thing is, with this organ donation awareness thing, it's kind of an open topic. There are a lot of people with a lot of different opinions, and the thing is, there are people over in Canada who have the opinion that, well, everybody should be mandatory organ donation. And the problem with that is, I don't like the idea of my organs being taken for one thing, and most people don't. It causes us to cringe. So they work on the premise that, well, we'll slowly build society up so that they grow to accept that organ donation is normal because, they're helping out a sickly child or an individual who's in dire need and all this sort of stuff, when in reality, it's probably an obese pig with too much money who's abused in his body his whole life, and because he has so much money, he's probably abused other people too. So that's the reality. But the Hallmark card moment will be when they say, "Oh, but you've helped out little Timmy over here." You don't know who little Timmy is. The whole system operates on secrecy. I'm not against organ donation if you know the person and you see every step of the way and you know for 100% of a fact that it's going to the right person. That's fine. But just throwing your organ to the wind, no. Because the problem with that is that it's big money. And, yeah, it's one of the reasons that people don't talk about why Asia's economy, it's one of their strong points. And it's actually not frowned upon by a lot of intellectuals in the world, including ones in the Western world, because they go, look, they're advancing science, blah, 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 blah. These people were bad anyway, even though not all of them and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, the scientific community goes, well, look, now that they know how to reintroduce a different kidney into a different body with a greater success rate. I mean, this is totally Frankenstein stuff, which plays into the cultural reference of Western society, of course. Um, I mean, and then you'll get some people going, oh, but you're 30 years old and a drunkard. Nobody wants your organs. You're actually wrong. There's like you don't understand when people have money, or yeah, when they don't, but they don't really get it when they don't have money. But when they have money, and they really need an organ, they'll take anything that works. Okay, anything to prolong their vampiric zombie fucking existence. It's a disgusting trait in the wealthy that they'll do anything. As I said, there are people. Actually, I watched a documentary. I forget where it was. I think it was Real Documentaries. I may be wrong there, but they said Israel was used to have legislation where they would go to. They're wealthy would go to Asia, and it'd be like they go through 10 kidneys, for example, until they got one that worked. And therein lies the other problem is that, um, okay, say you know the person with, who's in need of an organ and you want to donate your organ. The odds of your one actually specifically working for that person are kind of low. Because sometimes it's not about blood type, it's not about other things. I'm not going to get into that because that's the medical side of it. I'm not that big into it. It's disgusting. Um, but it won't work. The body won't take it for whatever reason. The thing is, the medical community still wants your goddamn organs, though. So they go, well, how are we going to convince people to give their organs to people they don't know and probably people they wouldn't like? I mean, take this for example. I don't like Canadians. I fucking live in Canada and I don't like Canadians. I don't want to give my organ to a bunch of people I don't like. In fact, I dislike them. Well, actually, I don't like them because I don't think about them. But if they really pushed it, I would dislike them. And they're not worth my intellectual energy, and they're not worth the mental real estate in my brain. I've got other things to think about. Okay? And yeah, I'm not big for people being ignorant as to what organ donation is. And almost every single bureaucrat will come along and tell you, no, this is good. You're helping out little Timmy. Little Timmy's real. I'll take you to the hospital, show you him. And it's like, yeah, little Timmy doesn't need an organ. Little Timmy has a different problem. You're telling me this, and you're going to give me a card probably telling me how great I am and all that, when really you just stole my organ and did whatever you wanted with it. You may not have even used it on anyone. You might have just used it for medical experimentation. And then you go, well, why would these bureaucrats do that if that's what they think? That's what they tell you. That's part of what you know of the world is what we tell you. Because those same slimy bureaucrats know this part of the story, the ones that are a little bit higher up on the food chain. As I talked about in my earlier video, there have been low-level bureaucrats who have made shady decisions that have negatively impacted me, but I forgive them because they were stupid and they got manipulated by bigger assholes. And, it's not entirely their fault that they're stupid. I mean, that's the thing that happens. Sometimes people can be stupid, okay? But when you do something malicious and you did it on purpose, then then you don't really deserve to be forgiven for that. And this whole organ donation mandatory someday when they pass legislation to do so. You get all these millennials and Z generation who are fucking brainwashed by mainstream media, and they think they're so intellectual because, oh, look at me, I've been watching SciShow for a year. Fucking halfwits. Yeah, I heard what you fucking said, Sideshow, and not everything you say is strictly science. Sometimes it's kind of propaganda, which is a type of science, but it's not the same damn thing. Just because someone says something, it doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't matter what position they are in society. I mean, take my word for, however way you want to, but I don't agree. Um, and I will never sign organ or donation uh, any kind of legal documentation saying and actually agreeing to it, at least willingly, if they don't, if they don't take it. If we truly do live in a civilized society, that is, I'm not sure we do, but I don't know. It's best not to worry about it. But yeah, and there are some people who are higher up in the echelon and know this, but they're contractually obligated to be an organ donator. Like someday they'll want all hockey players to be that. I don't think that's the case right now, but someday they'll want all hockey players, for example, because they're worth a lot of money, and some people will go. Some people actually think that if they have the organ of someone more substantial in society, then that will make them a better person. It doesn't, but I guess they go around and say, "Oh yeah," and it's like, you creepy. And I don't even know the words to call them that would actually offend them, so because they're that screwed up in the head. But anyway, uh, yeah, that's a pretty spooky subject, because there definitely are elements within bureaucratic systems that do want to push this, and they always use well, if we pitch the story a certain way, and the people, don't really know, it doesn't really matter so long as they're content afterwards. And remember, this is organ donation, and I did say there was a lot of money to be made. Your organ's worth a lot of money, and if you want to donate it, that's fine, but you should be, getting significant profit yourself out of that organ. They want to give you anything for that damn organ. They want to take it from you and do whatever they want with it. And do I want my organ going into, a repugnant, repulsive thing like a Harvey Weinstein or something like that who just has too much money? No, no, I don't. And you can't take the word of a bureaucrat that that's not going to happen if they, go to carve you up. You can't take their word for it. They'll fucking lie right to your face. And because you won't deal with a high level bureaucrat, or very rarely you will, um, they'll be lied to as well, and they'll be lying to you, and they won't see the full picture for themselves because they're idiots. And there's a lot of information out there that is starting to get a bit more interesting, like SciShow and stuff like that. But that's meant to distract you. That's meant to fill your head with all these little, these little facts that are, interesting to know, but they're not really going to help you out in certain situations. And people go, "Ooh, I'm so smart because I watched that." No, you're a fucking idiot for just believing what you're told. Um, you know, of course, there are some things that when you're told, you really ought to believe them, but there are other things that you go, "Well, it's not that important if I don't believe it." Because I'm a man who believes in facts, and I know some little fucking medical system bureaucrat is going to come out of the woodwork and go, "Yeah, yeah, 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 that's not the way it is." But they didn't take into consideration that most people know they're compulsive liars. They lie all the time. That's what they do. And, once you've been caught out lying once, you're always going to be known as a liar in certain circumstances. Um, we're not going to get into that, but there's reasons why people lie, and they're usually unkind reasons. Usually because there's a giant asshole at the top of the totem pole. But anyway, never mind. Um, Yeah, uh, yeah. What am I gonna say, man? Like this. It's a working theory of mine. So, some fine tuning, sure, yeah, I'll agree with that. However, I know exactly how the medical system would start to spin the rhetoric. And, you can't let your eyes deceive you. You can't let your senses deceive you because, you know, like I said, they take you into a medical room and show you little Timmy who may or may not actually need an organ. How the hell are you going to know? You're not a medical professional. They tell you that. And, it is a heartwarming moment to see them get better, obviously. But if that wasn't the actual reason they were sick and they got better because of other treatment, but the system still wanted your organ, maybe to sell it to somebody else or, put it somewhere else, then, you know, at least you tried, but it wasn't quite like that. And you know, I am cognizant that I'm wearing a Venom hoodie. It's not exactly a warm morning for me, so you can shut up about that already. It's a piece of fabric. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm never going to agree to being an organ donator. You can't trust the system. And the thing is, when they start to push, because there always has been a fringe element, because Frankenstein's not actually a new concept. There's always been a fringe element where they want people's organs, and the only reason a system like that hasn't passed is because there are people in power who go, "Hey, they may come after my organs and do whatever they want with them." Well, how the hell are we going to pass this legislation that makes it legal so that people don't freak out? Oh, we'll pitch it like, oh, it's a good thing. Like, oh, if you, get in a car accident or whatever, you pass on, you're not really going to need your organ anyway, but it could help somebody. It could, but it won't because it could make money for someone who doesn't deserve it. Very rarely do organs actually go to where they're supposed to go to, or where people think they're supposed to go to. And that's part of the intertwined wind, not wind, the intertwined web of the system. And these people think they're smarter, these people who cobble up these ideas for social control. And it's like, no, you're not. You're simply an asshole. That's all you are. You block information so that nobody else can learn it, and then you're able to have time to think about it, and then you push forward a psychological, social construct that enables you to do such thing. And that doesn't make you smarter. That simply makes you an asshole. Because sometimes there could be people who don't know anything about it, but you explain what you know to them, and maybe they got a better opinion than you do. It's a possibility. I mean, on some of the points I made, most of the points I made, I really don't think somebody's got a better opinion than me. But we'll see. I know someone will respond to this video at some point. Um, yeah, so I would not recommend anyone donating their organ and throwing it to the wind, and especially for no money. That's what they do in the third world, and guess what? The mentality that, oh, we live in the first world, things are going to be better for me over here. Not always. Sometimes third world mentality comes here. Like, I live in Canada. I can tell you that people are repulsive pigs. They're pigs. And I have to be hesitant to say things like that because I know there are a bunch of little bastards out there that'll use emojis or whatever the damn things you call on my face. Like the dog one, Snapchat, whatever the fuck. I don't use that stuff, okay? They wouldn't like it if you did it to them, but they have no problem doing it to you, and it's like, well, that's a whole other bag of bullshit, so we're not going to get into that. Um, yeah, because the other aspect of organ donation, on a different note, on the same subject, is that the Western countries are falling behind as far as scientific discovery goes, because you know the third world has an endless source of people to experiment on that they don't have any legal rights, and their systems are authoritarian and are oppressive. In the Western world, our systems are authoritarian and are oppressive, but not quite as bad. And it's all about money, 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 money. And unfortunately, as disgusting as the system is, it is a money machine. And I simply do not agree with the politics behind it. And I think people should be well informed if they decide to donate an organ. There's definitely times where it is appropriate, and they have to be well informed and not lied to. They have to know exactly what they're getting into if they're going to donate an organ. And I have made the decision that I will not donate under any of my organs under any circumstances. I am not doing it. And it's not because it's 100% guaranteed that a creep's going to get my organ, but I'm not taking that chance. Not taking that chance. Uh, and, what more can you say about that? Oh, and don't think because, well, they're, a certain age, I mean, unless you're like 90 or something, human biological material is always useful in the scientific community, no matter its age or what, or its abuse factor or whatever. So you will get people who are 50 years old who donate an organ, and the organ's not really going to be of much use because it just simply won't work on anyone. But that doesn't mean that they won't go, well, let's have a look at it then. It's got its value as far as investigating into how this particular organ from a person has functioned throughout the years. And what are its advantages, if any, and learn everything about it because they need more biological materials. And these people are the scum of the earth. And I know that's an insult that doesn't actually offend some people because they use word games to try and, make themselves immune to insults. But I mean it with the absolute, worst, uh, how they feel concept of it. I want to make them mad because they didn't do me any favors. They nearly threw me into the gutter and lived a life of total chronic pain, and nobody was going to care, and everyone was going to laugh at me. So, you know, um, fuck you, people. Seriously, fuck you. Anyway, it's been a good morning chat. I will talk to you people later, and yeah, you fuck off.